They were smarter! They were better! Oh! You open the box, right?
Everyone, how's it going? It's your fellow Stanley.
I need to take this thing out, right? It doesn't come out. You tear this little tab.
How's it going, everyone? It's your boy, Stan's here. And, you know, today we're playing some Stanley Parabl. Please enter the current time. It is 10.
How's the snack? Oh, it smells good. No.
It is 10
I don't understand. It's
p.m.
peanut, but I don't see nuts in there. That's pretty good.
Note accessibility settings can be accessed from the main menu.
I give it like a 4 or a 5. Let's see if the snack
Okay,
is better.
I've never played this before.
So we're going
And
from
Papyrus is here too, you know.
to 8.
Hello everyone, this is the great Papyrus here. So we're playing the Stanley Parabl Ultimate Ultra Deluxe, so let's begin here, bud.
Freaking cotton candy machine. You know, I wish Gabe was here to see this. I could replace Gabe.
So, you know, let's get into this, you know. Oh hey, ain't that something, bud?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Okay. So,
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
okay, so I can...
All of his co-
Okay there, bud, that's a little too high, you know. So
workers were gone. What could it mean?
Yeah, that's a really bad.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, hold on. Show subtitles. Where the fuck is this meeting room there, bud? Stand, watch the language. Papyrus, you're old enough to
When
hear
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Why do I feel like this is a horror game now?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Never mind. Let's just ball you up inside. Talk it out if it's positive aggressive work is okay. And let's just keep going, Sam. Okay,
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Okay.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I can't see Jack. Oh. This is starting to feel like a horror game now, Pat. Oh, really? You don't think, Sans? No, Paps, I know. Oh, loading. Oh, Paps, what do I do? Sans, stop doing that ridiculous Canadian accent. Okay, Paps, you caught me. I'll stop doing it.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Let's keep doing it.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I feel like this is becoming a horror game now, Papyrus.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
So 427 is me. Oh, look, there's me.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Did I do it?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Beat the game. Okay, I beat the game, now what?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking, this is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to...
that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Shut the hell up now.
It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
I want to go to bed, man.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parabl. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
What do I do?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
What just happened? Guys, chat, what happened?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Why'd the music stop? Sandy boy don't like this. Sandy boy don't like getting jump scared. I'm getting puppy playtime vibes.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oh, wait, what? Oh.
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle. Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Okay.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend? Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something! Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste. And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
How's it going, Sordell? Hope you're doing well, bud. The original remake. I don't want to go down here first. Should I go down there? Okay. Voice too quiet. Turn it up. I can't. My mic's broken. My mic's broken, bud. Don't. My mic is broken.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Repeatable carpet textures.
These were...
Okay, hold on. So I'm thinking we'll do 70 for main.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a
70
man
for
named Stanley.
60 for that. 40 for music and sound effects for maybe 75. Is that better? When you learn how to do the Sans voice, it's so impressive.
Simpler times.
I don't know, it just popped in out of nowhere, actually. People say it sounds more like Patrick than it does Sans. I can also do the great Papyrus. Yeah! Hello, humans.
I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait.
This is actually getting kind of scary,
I
not going to
recall
lie,
this part of
Sans.
the memory
Yeah.
zone before.
What other voice can
What's
you?
this? What's down here? Oh,
Well,
no,
I can do
God, no, Stanley.
Vegeta,
It's a
I can do
collection of
Trunks,
from pressurized gas.
I can do
The
Rose,
extremely
Goku,
popular
Black
online
Holes,
storefront
how are
for
you?
computer games. I haven't
I
looked
can
at
do,
these in
I can do a
years.
lot,
I can't
actually.
even imagine
This is
what's
my
been
actual voice,
collecting
by the
down
way.
here. Surely these reviews were glowing.
I just do voices for fun. I can do Kermit the Frog.
Honestly,
Oh
I
shit.
could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is
I
obnoxious
can also
and
do Kermit the Frog.
unfunny,
Haha,
with his
I can do
humor
Mickey
and
Mouse.
dialogue proving to be
I
more
can do
irritating
Goofy.
than
Oh, yeah.
entertaining. Unfunny. I'm not trying to be funny.
Oh,
I'm trying to make a serious
fuck.
work of art.
Be a
I suppose
voice
I could write
actor.
up a
I
handful of
know,
gags to
people have been
insert into
saying
the
that.
Stanley Parable, but the game is already
Pressurized
such a
gas,
densely
pressurized
layered
gas.
web of profound
Who the
philosophical
is
insights
buying
that I can't
pressurized
even
gas,
imagine where I'd
dog?
have the room to stick them.
Thank you for your, thank you guys, I appreciate it. People do say I should be a voice actor. Even my girlfriend says that I should be a voice
Well, the
actor.
idea for the game is good.
Because people say that voices
Someone who
actually
prefers
get more
non-linear
more
games,
attention.
this preachiness gets annoying fast.
So I'll do the Sans and Papyrus voice
I'm
for
not
now.
preachy, am I?
But until my
Tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
voice
It's
starts
actually
to
quite
die,
shocking for me.
that's when I'll
To be honest,
that's
I
when
had
I'll
always thought of the game
start doing my
style as
regular
being
voice.
rather terse.
You see, with Trunks, it actually kind of hurts my vocal cords.
And same with the Almighty Prince. But with Goku Black, it's just like it's just accents. So
I have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
do the Shadow the
I feel
Hedgehog voice.
Like a failure.
Well,
Like I let
you
these
see
people
here,
down.
Sonic.
Perhaps the Stanley Parable.
The reason why I
isn't
want to go
quite
to
as
Mexico
sterling
is
as
because
I
I
always
love
remembered.
Latinas, my friend.
What to say.
That's the best Shadow voice I can
Stop
do,
doing
dog. I'm
anything
sorry.
So the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well,
Oh,
yes.
well, that's not very
Yes, I think we can
swag.
do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Oh, what
That's
the
my
hell
motto,
is going
and
on?
it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button.
My
shall
controller
have.
is vibrating in my hand, so I should mention that. Okay, you can't fall in there.
And here it is. Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time.
few
for
minutes,
you to
it felt
deliver
like
a
2
long,
seconds.
rambling monologue full of unnecessary Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a
So yeah,
thoughtless
if you
display
guys
of
have any voice
self-absorption,
suggestions that I
it's
should
right
do
at
for
your
another stream,
fingertips to go,
let me know,
and
and
it's
I
all
will
over.
do it.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12
You've
hours?
just been
Jeez.
frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks.
I'm gonna keep pressing the button. I mean, I'm a skeleton and there's a big yellow button. What do you expect me to do?
Hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us.
Fuck you, dude. Hello? I think this is becoming a horror game, dude. What if I just keep pressing the button? You said beeping.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They...
I feel like this is becoming. I feel like this is slowly becoming a horror game. To be honest, I feel like this is becoming a horror game, chat.
Is never the end, 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 is never.
Okay, bro. Yep, this is slowly becoming a horror game. And out of viewers. Great. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. This ain't good, bro. This is not very good. This isn't very good. What the hell? What if I do, dog? Weird, this is slowly becoming a horror game. Oh shit. Hello? Oh. What the? Huh?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
This is oddly strange. This is very, very strange, not gonna lie.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up.
Is this actually gonna happen?
Possibilities. It could go in so many different
Is this actually gonna
directions.
happen, chat?
This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is... Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful? Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button. Yes, you see, what a thrill, what a rush, that was you. The button described you. Do it again, Jim. Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are. I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the... An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the... Well, we'll figure that out later. here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fat... Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving... You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then. complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem of the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms.